Shawn Michaels and NXT have been cooking as of late, and they look to turn up the heat as they're bringing us NXT Heatwave this upcoming Sunday in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Jose Ramos Jr., and if you're a fan of pro wrestling as much as I am, then you've come to the right place. In today's video, we will be tackling each matchup that is scheduled for NXT Heatwave and providing my predictions for the matchups. Although not considered to be one of the premier events for the NXT brand, NXT Heatwave does have the potential of presenting multiple matches of match of the night quality. You're looking at the stars of tomorrow today, and I look forward to seeing what they're able to bring us, as there may be a possibility of new champions being crowned. And speaking of new champions, we'll begin with the NXT Women's North American Championship as Kaylani Jordan looks to defend her title against Sol Ruca. Many people believe that Sol Ruca was going to be the inaugural champion for the women's division in terms of this new mid-card title, but that would not be the case. I stand by the decision to have Kaylani Jordan win that title. I think she's more than capable of having successful title defenses as well as entertaining matchups, and I think it's interesting that they're going with a babyface route for this first title defense on a PLE for NXT. Regardless, I think it'll be an entertaining matchup. I always look at the sense of a title reign that it needs to last a little bit of time. I don't think you can just end a title reign for the sake of ending it. Sol Ruca, if she were to become the champion at NXT Heatwave, I just think it would be too premature, and I think it would ruin the level of momentum that Kaylani Jordan has built up until this point. For that reason alone, I'll be going with Kaylani Jordan. I think it'll be a fun matchup. I think it'll be a competitive matchup, and it quite possibly could be the opener, as I know a lot of WWE shows like to start their shows off with some kind of energetic, high contested bout, and especially for a championship, especially something of this new. This is a new title. You want to get all the eyes you can on this new title. I look for it to be a competitive matchup, but I will be choosing Kaylani Jordan to win and defend and successfully retain her NXT Women's North American title. Next up, we have the NXT Tag Team Championships as we see Chase University attempting to win back their tag team titles against Nathan Frazer and Axiom. Now, I know in the previous PLE event, I had talked about the tag team division and how there was a lack of interest on my part, but what they've been doing with Frazer and Axiom has developed a little bit of interest for me. I like the fact that we're incorporating the WWE Speed Championship more so on WWE TV, You see that it's included on Twitter. It's a Twitter exclusive brand and a Twitter exclusive championship. But to see the lack of focus and the direction in which Nathan Frazer has been taking his attention, and seeing the toll it has taken on his partner Axiom, you can start to see a little bit of cracks forming in this tag team partnership. I think, for the sake of the story, they've been hinting it. I think this is when we finally break them apart. I think we finally see Axiom and Frazer go at it again. They had a friendly competition to begin this story. Now we're going to develop a rivalry. I think Frazer is the one that turns heel. I don't think you could turn Axiom heel, certainly not in this instance, but I look for Chase University to win the tag team championships. And on the flip side of that, Chase University is going through an interesting change here as they've included Ridge Holland into their school as of late. And especially given the way his tactics have been, the way he's been interfering and giving his team the victory. They want to do this honorably. They want to be honorable champions and do it the right way. But Ridge Holland, still finding his way away from the Brawling Brutes, is trying to find another family to attach himself to. Whether it's a detriment to his success or not, I think it'll be seen on NXT Heatwave, but I do predict that we will see new tag team champions. The NXT North American champion Oba Femi defends his title against one of the greatest North American champions in Wes Lee. Quite frankly, it is the matchup that has the biggest size differential between the two competitors, but I also anticipate that this could be match of the night. I love the story that they've been telling with Wes Lee as he returns from injury, wanting to reclaim the title that rightfully is his and that he's been associated with for the last couple of years. And to see him against the Goliath-like figure of Oba Femi, anytime you have a contrast in styles, whether it's a big man versus a small man or whatever the style may be, it leaves room for a great matchup. Everything in WWE, everything in pro wrestling is about style. Styles make the matchup. I think we have a heavily contested matchup between these two. Maybe that's on the flip side. However, Oba Femi, being the competitor that he is and the size of his magnitude, maybe he just squashes Wes Lee. And I'm not talking about a quick 2-minute squash, but if you remember back in SummerSlam 2014 when Brock Lesnar challenged John Cena for the WWE Championship, It was a lengthy matchup, but it was purely dominated by the larger competitor. Maybe we see that here because I don't think Wesley wins the title. I think we're preparing Wesley to join the main roster at some point. I feel like if he had not gotten injured last year, we might already see him on the main roster. But because of that, this allows him a little bit of a tune-up opportunity to regain his footing, regain his momentum. However, I do see Obafemi successfully defending his championship and defeating Wesley. And then one of the two major world titles being defended, the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez defends her title against Lola Vice. And what was a very interesting segment on NXT. I remember watching it and thinking to myself, it left me wanting a little bit more. I know they were going the emotional route, addressing Lola Vice and her personal life with her relationship and her mom, the sacrifices that they had to make. For me, it just didn't land. And even if that story is true, obviously, I don't know whether or not that was something that was real life for her or if that was just for the TV screen. I look at the performances of both and I expected a little bit more, especially from Roxanne and Lola Vice together, just as a unit. That segment for me didn't land. I don't know how many people else felt about it, but it just left me thinking, man, I really hope this match delivers because I enjoy the work of both of these ladies. And to see that that was the segment that they provided on the Go Home episode of NXT leading up to their championship match, I'm hoping it really lights a fire in both of them and they deliver a great match because that's the expectation. You've seen the quality of work that Roxanne Perez has done. She's only 22 years old and is easily the face of that women's division. Lola Vice still relatively new to the WWE style of performing, especially because she's coming from the MMA world. But I do think, again, styles lends itself. Lola Vice, the larger of the competitor compared to the miniature size of a Roxanne Perez, and especially with the dynamics. We're treating Roxanne as the heel. She's smaller than the Lola Vice character, who's essentially the babyface for this matchup. I look forward to it. Again, that segment in itself left a sour taste in my mouth, but I'm really torn here because if you ask me today, I'm picking Roxanne Perez. I don't think we drop the title to Lola Vice just yet. I can't see Roxanne Perez losing. However, I could also see them strapping the rocket to Lola Vice, giving her the NXT Women's title, and treating her as a babyface run. In this moment, though, if you were to ask me and you were to corner me for an answer, I'll be picking Roxanne Perez. I just can't see her losing that title just yet. And in what quite frankly should be the main event, I don't think there's any discussion about it, the NXT Championship will be defended in a fatal four-way matchup as we have Javon Evans, we have Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and of course the champion, Trick Williams. I'm looking forward to this matchup. It's been quite some time since we've seen a fatal four-way in the main event regarding the NXT Championship. Being that it's in Toronto, my answer is kind of swayed here. I like the element of having a Javon Evans, someone relatively new and young. Obviously, they made a big deal of it in the segment in NXT, him being only 20 years old. For that being reason, I don't think he's winning the title. However, what an amazing swerve it would be if they actually crowned him as NXT champion. I don't think so. I think it's all about the build. I think it's all about the chase. And if you were to give a young talent like him that NXT championship so early, I think you're really missing out on a story that could be told for a young Evans. On the flip side, though, you look at a veteran like Shawn Spears, who's been there, he's done that, he's been on WWE TV, he's been in AEW, he's been back on NXT, and they're in his hometown, Toronto. That's a possibility. However, given the story being told between him and Javon, I don't think that's the story either. You look at Ethan Page and Trick Williams. These are the two competitors that I think have the best odds to win. Trick Williams, obviously the champion, the fighting champion. They could have him run away with this title for just a little bit longer. And I look at Ethan Page, who's been treated as a top guy. He's been treated like a main eventer ever since coming to NXT. They're in Toronto again, hometown crowd. But given his feud, given his story with Oro Mensah, I can't see them crowning him that champion because where do you go from there? Ethan Page, let's say he wins the NXT championship. Obviously, he's going to have a return match with Trick Williams, but then what about that story with Oro? I don't see them putting that match on. Oro versus Ethan Page for the NXT championship, perhaps on an episode of NXT TV, but even then I feel like it's a stretch. I can't see a lot of title changes coming around, this weekend at NXT Heatwave. The only one I think for sure is a possibility is the tag titles. I think Trick Williams wins and retains the titles, concluding an NXT Heatwave that, again, I don't anticipate a lot of title changes. I think the one argument that could be made is that women's title. But after the segment on NXT, I'm just not sure. So to conclude this prediction for this matchup, I want to make it clear and evident, Trick Williams, I have him winning the matchup, probably pinning someone like Shawn Spears. Again, I don't see them having Javon Evans take the pinfall, especially because it's a babyface on babyface. They're protecting Ethan Page. He hasn't really lost a matchup for sure, aside from obviously the main matchup at last month's PLE. I think Trick Williams defends. I think he successfully defends that title, and we look forward to see who his next opponent is. But what do you guys think? Which match are you looking forward to the most? What are your predictions regarding the main event? And who do you think will emerge victorious in that women's matchup? Will it be Lola Vice? Are they going to crown a new champion? Or is Roxanne Perez going to continue her title reign moving forward? Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you guys for joining me on this NXT Heatwave prediction video, and I will see you next time.